Welcome back to Alabama Care, everybody. Today I have Dudley Luckie, and we are going to be talking about his life with Spina Bifida. If you could introduce yourself while I pull up the string.
Hey everybody, I'm Dudley Luckie from Montgomery, Alabama. I'm soon to be 25. I turn 25 next week, actually.
Really?
Yeah, October 25th.
We've really known each other that long. Wow.
It's been a while.
Um, okay. So, first question that anybody gets asked when they come to Alabama, whether they're visiting or whatever, Auburn or Alabama. I already know this one, but
um, well, the way this season's going, I might have to rethink.
absolutely not. You are not
Not
hurting.
Alabama, not Alabama at all. Uh, but yes, I'm an Auburn fan.
Um, let's see. Okay, this is one of my new questions. Favorite song?
Here lately, I've been on a Tyler Childers, Zach Bryan kind of thing. So I'd have to say some of their music. I don't really have a specific song of theirs. Kind of like it all.
Gotcha. Never heard of them. I don't listen to like new country though.
Yeah, he's up and coming.
Okay, what is spina bifida in your own words?
Um,
Kind of a question.
so uh, from my perspective, I was the hole in my spine, which that's basically what spina bifida is a hole in the spine. And I had hydrocephalus. I always get that word messed up. But my hole in my spine was about the L4, L5 area uh, at birth. Um, they closed it not long after my birth, and then they put the shunt in my head. That keeps the fluid, the hydrocephalus, off of my brain shortly after birth as well. So,
I'm glad you know your level, cause
yeah,
I'm 28 now, and I still don't.
yeah. Mine's it's roughly L4, L5.
That I just don't know it. Um. Okay, talk a little about like early life. What's mine about for like school and like your activities and all that stuff.
So, for the most part, as you all know, sports have always been a huge thing in my life. It's actually pretty much how me and you met through the Miracle League and through Maine, which is
Man,
through Maine with the horse riding here in Montgomery. That's always been part of my life growing up, especially. I was trying to get into any kind of sport that I could. Like I said, with the Miracle League. Even at school, I can always remember my favorite teacher of all time, my fourth grade teacher. He said that I used to get out there like a PE when the kids were playing kickball, and I was considered the all-time pitcher. I'd get on my knees and would be the all-time pitcher and roll the ball, spina bifida didn't really stop me from doing anything that I wanted to do. So uh, it's been kind of like a not I don't want to say a challenge because I've always found a way to get around it. But yeah, my childhood was a lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of sports activities, getting into things like that.
yeah, a little backstory. Me and Dudley have known each other for actual years. Like I was 11, 12,
Yeah, I was about to say I was
around
probably
that
9 or 10.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. You've kind of already answered this, but what activities were you involved in, like childhood and even now, if you're involved in
Uh,
anything?
s- so I was, like I said, the Miracle League. I was like 3 or 4, I think, maybe 5 when it started here in Montgomery. Then a few years after that, I got into Maine. Montgomery area non-equestrian, I believe, is the full or full name of it, shortened to Maine, which is just riding horses here in Montgomery. I did that for a few years. That's where me and you became good friends. Let's see, I used to go to Camp Aska on Lake Martin. Did that for 3 or 4 years, I believe, with sports camp. So there's the sports coming back into it. Let's see, I started playing wheelchair basketball my freshman, sophomore year in high school. Um, so I've done a lot of sports related things.
Yeah.
Let's see, can't really think of anything outside of that.
Daniel, Daniel, didn't you used to like announce games at AUM
Yeah,
also?
so when few years that I went to college, I started out at Huntington going to school. I went there for a semester, and then I transferred over to AUM and went there for uh, roughly 2 years. I was majoring in communications, sports broadcasting mainly. Been a dream of mine as long as I can remember. I've always wanted to be a sports commentator, Sports Center, ESPN, and then I kind of got into the radio aspect of it. Um, but I started doing the men's and women's basketball and the softball for Auburn University at Montgomery. Um, they had a live stream or have a live stream on their website, and I was the voice of the Warhawks for those 2 years roughly that I was there.
Yeah. I think I was there for one of those years, maybe. I might have
Yeah.
already graduated. I don't remember. Let's see. Okay, we've already like kind of gone into this, but your hobbies.
Um. So sports, any kind of sport, that's going to be a common theme.
Yep.
Uh. Yeah. I like to hunt when I can and fish when I can. Let's see. I've just anything that keeps me active. Pretty much, I like to be active when I can. Um, it's just a way to keep myself going, and not try to sit around all the time. Um, so anything that keeps me active, keeps me moving.
Yeah, I don't do anything. Like,
Here lately with
well, I do like active stuff, but like hunting and all that, I don't do.
yeah,
I do like diamond painting.
here lately with my work schedule, it's kind of made it hard to do the
Yeah,
hunting and fishing kind of things. Because I work weekends mainly is my main schedule. But yeah, anything that's gets me active, I like to try to stay active as much as possible.
oh, um, okay, I added a question to this. Um, are you or were you in college?
Yes, I did. Like I said, I was going to Huntington for a semester, then I transferred to AUM. Like I said, I was doing communications, focusing on broadcast journalism, and I did that for roughly 2 years, right around the time COVID started. I was That's right when I decided that school wasn't for me.
Funny story. When you transferred to AUM, I didn't know it. And I saw you on campus and I was like, why are you here?
Yeah. School was fun for a
Yeah.
little
Mm,
bit.
sure. Okay. So this is a question that like I added because a bunch of people, like parents, um, I just saw on like some Spina Bifida groups that I'm in have been like asking, um, accommodations for school, like any like elementary and middle, high, college.
So in elementary, well, all the way through high school, I had an IEP. Um, I got help in some of the subjects that I was struggling in, mainly math. Math to this day is still something that I struggle with bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can do basic uh, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, but anything above that, I really struggle with. And I've learned that with spina bifida, that's a big thing that
Yeah.
a lot of spina bifida kids, adults now, struggle with math. Um, and from what I've read, it's according to where the hole is in your spine, where the level is. And so math has always been my biggest struggle in school. Um, my favorite was history. I've always been a history um, um, lover. I love history, anything about it. So I never really had a problem with history. But yeah, the math was the biggest where I had the most help in school.
Yeah.
When I got to college, they had the disability services, um, but I didn't really think that I was going to need that much help. So because I mean, really, I was flying through all of my um, communications classes, my English class. I was doing well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the math that I was in was sort of difficult. I actually knew the professor pretty well. But yeah, so that was kind of uh, a little bit of my failure in college was the math. Yeah,
Yeah. I had to take a math class, or actually several math classes, but there was one, and she almost failed me,
yeah,
and
yeah. Math is not fun for me. When I
no,
was in high school, the highest I think I took was algebra two. I got to algebra two, and I was like, yeah, no,
yeah, that's basically what I did, and then I had to take like higher when I got in college, and I'm like,
yeah,
no,
yeah. I was in the only math I took in college was the lowest level of math.
yeah.
So
Luckily, the highest level of math I had to do, I was already at home
yeah,
because I live on campus, but I had to move home my last year ish because I didn't have enough classes to live on
yeah,
campus.
hmm
And so luckily I had my mom like right there whenever I was
yeah,
doing it.
yep.
Um, okay, what's your job now? And then what is your dream job?
So I have been working for the Alabama Department of Transportation for the last 4 years now. The first year and a half, I'd say, was part time because I was in school at that time. But like I said, when COVID first started out in the beginning of 2020, I was kind of like, okay, that's my out. I'm going to go to work, and so I've been full time with the state with ALDOT in the traffic management department since the beginning of 2020. It's been full time. So, and my dream job, like I said earlier, was I wanted to become a sports broadcaster. Um, I've always been uh, in love with the sports, and then got into the radio aspect of it. My mom worked for the radio stations here in Montgomery, and so I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes deal of it. I got to meet a lot of people. Um, uh, Barry McKnight, John Longshore, big stars. Paul Feinbaum is one of my idols. A lot of people don't like him. I think he's great. He knows what he's doing. His job is to stir up mess, and that's what he does the best.
And that's what he
Uh,
does.
yeah. So I mean, that's why he's one of my idols. My uncle Roger Schultz. He played for Alabama football, um, and did some radio broadcasting. I was on the show with him for a little bit. Doug Amos. A lot of these guys have really gotten me into the radio aspect of it, and why I really love it.
Okay, we're gonna go back to what your job is now because I'm curious. What do you actually like do?
So, here in the state of Alabama, uh, there are five traffic management offices in the state. Just for a little rundown, there's Mobile, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Huntsville. I have to count them out every single time. I'm in the Montgomery office, and basically we have cameras all along our interstates and some U.S. highways, like 231, 330. Well, we don't have any on 331, but things like that. Um, Basically, I say it simply, we watch people crash, and we either alert the police departments or they alert us, and we alert our Aldot guys, as far as if there's injuries, things like that, all the details of the crash. Sometimes, well, most of the time, we see them on camera if they're on the
Mhm.
interstates. So it's pretty much what I do. I watch cameras all day long.
That sounds fun.
Oh yeah, you see some stuff.
I bet. Let's see. Okay, let's get into like the medical aspect of spina bifida because that's always a fun one.
Yeah.
How many surgeries have you had, like
So
related to spina bifida?
I've had 23 surgeries. So
Just related to spina bifida?
um
I feel like that's more than me, though.
yeah, I've had a couple. Like I had a stomach obstruction um
Yeah,
several years ago. That was the worst one that I've ever had. The worst
I,
pain that
I
I've ever
remember
had.
that. Yeah,
That was awful. I
I
spent
remember that
13
one.
Yeah, I spent 13 days in the hospital, like two or three here in Montgomery, and then they sent me to Birmingham, and I had surgery at like 5 a.m. the next morning after
Oh,
getting to Birmingham. So it was like an emergency thing, and then I spent like 10 days after that in the hospital in Birmingham. Um, I've had uh, let's see, another non-related was I had a wound that I had to have surgery on it. It was a long process too. I was actually laid out flat for about a month and a half. I had
oh,
it
wow.
beginning of 2015 or 2016, I think, the end of 2015, because I remember being laid out for Christmas, New Year's, all
Hmm.
of that. And so that was also my
Wow.
senior year of high
Yeah,
school. So I missed half of that year.
yeah.
So
I have
everything
something
else,
similar to that. I
yeah.
spent the majority of my senior year in the hospital.
Was it with the shunt?
Yeah,
Yeah. See,
they
I've
couldn't. my body was like rejecting the kind of shunt that I had, and they couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I remember all
So
of that. That was almost like
yeah,
a whole year deal, wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought so.
I was in the hospital like once a month starting. I had a surgery, and then that surgeon, not saying any names, um, ended up fixing the wrong part of the shunt, and I think that's what started it all.
Yeah,
And then I was in the hospital like once a month until September.
yeah, I
And
remember that.
I went in like the day after my birthday or something. And because I was having a shunt malfunction on my birthday. And I refused
Happy
to go to the
birthday.
hospital. Yeah, I refused to go to the hospital. So I was like, I have plans. I'm not doing it.
You know,
And so I went the next day. And then I think they were just like tired of seeing me come in every single month. So they were like, we're just gonna keep you until we figure this out. And
yeah.
it ended up taking 36 days.
I was about to say, wasn't it? It was like a month that you stayed like
Yeah, it
all the
was
way.
36 days. I got out on October 31st.
Oh, wow, wow,
Um, but it ended up being like um, I am surviving on a shunt that like very few people actually can or something.
wow.
I'm not sure.
Huh.
Hey,
I think I've only had.
Cheyenne.
Uh,
Cheyenne Foley is watching, just letting you know. She didn't say
hey,
anything.
Cheyenne. I went to school with her at AUM. It's a good friend of
You
mine.
did, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember you know her too.
Yeah, I've met her a few times. I like once I found out Dudley was at AUM, I kind of just made his friends my friends.
Yeah. We stayed in the library.
Cheyenne says hi. Um, let's see. Now we can get back on track. Okay, next question. Do you live on your own, and what does that look like
I do. I have
currently?
my own apartment. I've been here. Actually, my birthday next week will be a year that I've been living on my own. I spent
Really,
all
it's
of
been
my
that long.
birthday. Do what?
It's been that long.
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't seem
Uh,
like it's been that long.
yeah. Last year on my birthday, I spent the whole day moving into this apartment here. Um, I was just across the street in another apartment with my stepmom. Then I decided that I wanted to get started on living on my own, and so I,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, I moved into this apartment here. So I've just been making it work. It's not handicap accessible, um, but I haven't found too many issues with it. Um, the I have a parking spot right outside of my apartment, right out here. So it's just a one bedroom apartment. So there was not really any modifications made uh, on the apartment complexes side of it. I've changed a few things around here for my own preference, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
I actually just got my own apartment.
yeah, I saw that.
Um,
Congratulations.
I haven't moved yet because the exact same length that I signed the lease, I also had surgery like two
Yeah,
days after. Um, and there's a lot of restrictions on me right now, so
yeah,
I can't do much on my own.
gotcha,
So I'm at my parents' recovering, but
gotcha.
hopefully by the end of the week, I can actually, move in.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
lot of
so
fun.
ready.
The moving is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was
I've
said
already
with a
done
lot of
like,
sarcasm.
yeah, I've already done like some moving, um, just because I have had a lot of help. Um, but I I physically have not moved in yet, and I'm so
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. I had quite a bit of help that day as well, so it wasn't all on me. Um,
Yeah,
I'm hoping in the next year or so um, to start looking for an actual house. That way, it's mine, instead of
right. Yeah,
just renting, an apartment. I want
yeah,
something that's my own.
that you
So,
can actually do stuff with
yeah,
and
that's one of my
not
goals
get in
for the
trouble
next
for
year.
it.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Okay, so do you have any advice for someone living with spina bifida?
Um, I would just say, if just live life to the fullest,
Mm-hmm.
find activities that you enjoy. That's pretty much what I did. I worked around the challenges that I've had. I've started out, I was walking on a walker for several years, and then I transferred to the crutches for several years, the forearm crutches. And then in 2012, I think it was, I got a tethered spinal cord, and that's when they pretty much told me that I wouldn't be able to walk again. And so a lot of people around me were upset, that I wasn't going to be able to walk. But I've always
Mm-hmm.
had the mindset that like, okay, next thing up, let's get through it. Let's find a way to um, get through this challenge. There's a way around it.
Right.
I'm going to get around it. So
Yeah.
just try to find your way around whatever challenge comes in your life. Whatever happens to you, you knock that challenge down.
Right. I'm actually glad you brought that up. That was a question I didn't think of. The walking to the wheelchair thing,
Yeah,
because I basically had the same thing happen to me. Not because of tethered cord. We
yeah,
actually don't know what happened.
yeah. They kind of
Um.
turned into a, I don't want to say a test dummy, but there was a lot of they thought that my hamstrings were so tight, so they did a hamstring uh, clipping, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Um, then they did the shunt. They thought maybe my shunt was messing up, so they went in and looked at my shunt. And, oh, it's okay. That's not the problem. And then finally, um, they said, yeah, it's the tethered spinal cord. So
Yeah.
that was pretty rough there too. That was one of the ones that was
Yeah.
rough.
I've heard that surgery is pretty
Yeah,
rough.
yeah, wasn't fun.
Um. Yeah, they still don't know why that happened to me.
Yeah,
It
there's
just
still a lot of mystery out there
I just kind of
with
go
some
along with
things.
it because there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
And
and see, after
I
starting, go ahead.
go ahead.
After starting, like junior high, I'd say that's right around the time that I quit walking.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of was like, okay, yeah, I think the better thing is for me to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because the kids were like running around everywhere, and
Hmm.
being on the forum crutches, I wasn't able to keep up with anybody, so
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It took me a while to realize that, but I finally
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so this is gonna be. I'm gonna make this into a two-part question. When you were like little, how did you advocate for yourself, and versus how you advocate for yourself now?
Uh, so I'd say my parents were, when I was little, they kind of instilled in me, to do things on my own as much as possible. That um, this was going to be my life, so I needed to learn early how to do the things that I need to do in my life. Started at an early age, and then I've just carried that throughout. Like I said, I'm about to be 25, and I've just carried that throughout my whole life. You know, I try not to get a lot of help. There are some things that I still do need help with. But for the most part, like I drive on my own. I have a truck that I drive. So there's still a few things that I do need help with, but for the most part, I'm pretty much independent.
Let's talk. This isn't on any of the questions. Let's talk about driving for a second. I I don't drive, so I like forget that you drive.
Yeah,
um, so your truck, is it like a modified truck
yeah.
or?
So let's back up. I started out with a just a old minivan, 2004 minivan that my granddad got for me. Um, Drove that for a few years, and then it started to have a lot of issues with it, and I was just like, I think I want to upgrade, and so
Mm-hmm.
I had already started going to this place in Wetumpka, Gulf States Mobility, where they do
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about, where they do the
Yeah.
transforming the vehicle to adaptive equipment. So I got the truck. I had to go to had to go to Birmingham to get the truck, and then came back down here, took it to Wetumpka, and they put a crane system in the bed of the truck that swings out, and it's like the claw from Toy Story that comes down and
Mm-hmm.
picks it up and brings it back into the bed of the truck. And then I have hand controls, and the driver's seat swings out and comes all the way to the ground. So
That's
it's
pretty
it's a
cool.
pretty neat deal. It's a pretty neat
Yeah,
deal.
that's pretty cool. Let's see. Best and worst part about Spina Bifida.
Oof. Uh, Best part is just I guess getting to do all of these activities that I wouldn't have been able to do. Like I said, I think between me and you both, one of our most favorite times of the year was going to Camp Asca.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you were in the teen week side of it. I was in the sports camp side of it. So we were
Yeah.
doing sports from the time we woke up that each morning to the time we went to bed. Um, and that was like wheelchair basketball. A couple of years there was sit skiing, um, just different adaptive sports. So there was that opportunity. I've spoken to different groups. One of my most favorite memories was speaking to the Huntington football team several years ago. Coach Turk, the head coach of Huntington, is a good friend of mine. I got to speak to his football team about my experience at Camp Asco. Um, the worst part about spina bifida, I would say, is all of the hospital visits. I guess all the surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not fun. Um, like I said, I've had 23. There's been a few that have been really bad. I've had quite a few shunt um, revisions. Um, those are not terrible. Um, on that I've experienced, I've never had anything like yours. I've never had any experience like that. Um, but yeah, the hospital. I'm actually going to Spina Bifida Clinic in 2 weeks. November the 3rd, I believe. So I'll be going up there for that. That's an all day thing.
All day thing. I love Spina Bifida clinic days, especially now that I live in Georgia.
Yeah. Are
I'm
you still
3 hours
you still go
away
to
now.
Birmingham?
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's nothing here for
Really?
like adult care.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was actually having when we moved here, first moved to Georgia, I was actually having a shunt malfunction, like in the middle of it,
Wow.
and didn't know it, and because we were, you know me, I'm gonna every symptom that I'm having, I'm gonna pass it off as something
Yeah.
else. So that's what I was
That's
doing.
me.
Yep, that's what I was doing. I was like, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, and I did that for I actually did that for like 3 months or something. Like,
Oh.
um, and then we moved here, and I actually started showing symptoms of shunt malfunction, and it couldn't be anything else.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to find somewhere in Atlanta that I could go, and
Hmm.
there was nothing
That's crazy.
um, for like adult care. If you're pediatric, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But I was no longer pediatric, so
Uh,
um,
I think I
no. So
quit. Go ahead.
I've just ended up going to UAB for everything still.
I think I quit going to children's when I was like 19, I think, 20 maybe, and then
Yeah,
transferred
that
to
was
the
the other
UAB.
thing. I had to like switch over late because of everything that I was going through, like shunt wise at the time.
Yeah.
And um they didn't have like the step program and all that they have now, so I was just like kind of thrown into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Cheyenne said something.
Uh-oh.
Cheyenne said this is actually pretty funny. Cheyenne said, "Good old Bertha. I remember the ramp on that van took forever to come down."
Yeah. That was what I called my van, Bertha. Uh,
Yeah,
and the ramp was very, very slow. Uh,
yeah.
good times.
Let's see. Okay, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I think that was all my questions.
Um, I was just gonna ask you. You brought up the shunt issues. Like, I know with me, I start getting like really bad headaches, kind of like nauseous. Is that the same for you as well? I think that's maybe an
It
overall.
it used to be. My symptoms have changed.
Oh,
Like
really?
since I've gotten older, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I will get a really bad headache the majority of the time. That's like my telltale sign of shunt,
Yeah.
and it doesn't go away with like Advil or anything like that.
Right.
Um, so I will do get that. The headache that I was having when we were moving, it would go away with Advil, but then it would
Hmm.
come back.
Yeah.
Um, and I usually get like a really bad neck ache
Yeah.
because of my shunt tube.
Yep. Mine's.
Um, yeah, and let's see. I do get nauseous, but I have some other like things going on that could also make me nauseous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I never know um, if it's because of that or if it's actually shunt related.
Yeah.
So my telltale sign is just like the headache mostly.
I think
Um,
that's
and
most common.
yeah, and then it's been my well, it was my shunt tube because it would get really swollen if something was wrong.
Huh.
Um, but I think that has also become like not a sign because about 3 months ago or something. Um, I was having like my shunt tube was really really swollen,
Hmm.
and my parents were both out of town. They were in. I had stayed here. They were in Alabama conveniently. Um, and so I ended up calling UAB and like freaking out.
Yeah.
And then they made an appointment for me like the next day because I was literally just showing shunt
Yeah.
symptoms or whatever. And so I went the next day. I had a family friend take me because both my parents were in Alabama. um, I went. They did a CT scan, and I actually think that was all they did. Because UAB doesn't have the capability to do like the quick MRIs or whatever.
Right.
Um, so they did a CT scan, and it came back that everything was fine. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. A little
So,
suspicious.
yeah. So I ended up going home, and because they were like, "There's no reason to keep you, because it's fine." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I
Yeah.
ended up going home, and um, for a while, it would like my shunt tube would like get really swollen, and then it would like go down, and then it would get
Hmm.
really swollen again, and then it would go down for like days.
See, I've never had that issue, so
And yeah, I don't know. But I mean it seems to be fine now and I'm not having any issues, so
I had one
I'm
of those
just kind of
cases.
going with it.
Yeah. I had one of those cases 2019 where you kind of like freak out, there was I was really nauseous one night and I kind of had a little bit of a headache and, you know, being spina bifida, that's like a oh no, what is
Yeah.
this? And so I was actually laying on my dad's bed, and he was sitting at the foot of the bed, and we were watching a basketball game. And I was like, Dad, if I'm not feeling better tomorrow, can I call Birmingham? He's like, Yeah, sure. And so the next day I got up and I was still feeling kind of the same way. I was like, Dad, I'm calling Birmingham. And just so happened I couldn't get a hold of UAB. They were not going to allow me to, or not going to have an opening for me to get in until June of that year. And this was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, this was like April. So I called, who did I call it? Children's. I can't call her name now, but I called the lady at Children's, and she was like, "Yeah, come on, we'll get you in, you know, through the clinic." And it just so
Mm-hmm.
happened, I think that was a Wednesday, and so I called my dad back, and my dad was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll be there as soon as I can." And so I had not even gotten out of the shower, and Dad pulled up to the house, and so we took off, and I think I stayed 2 days up there, and they couldn't find anything wrong. The MRI scan came back, fine. Um, so I don't know what that really was,
Yeah.
but I ended up being
It,
okay after it. No, I haven't had a shunt revision since 2012, I think. So
really?
knock on wood.
Wow.
Yeah.
My
So
last one was um, no, it was I think I did end up having one last year. I don't remember.
yeah, mine are not as common as they used to be. I used to have them. It seemed like every other year, maybe.
Yeah,
And I
I've
think that's
heard
where
that as you like age, like the it gets better.
yeah, I think the last one that I had, they put in what they call the adult shunt, which I guess is supposed to have like a longer tubing system.
Yeah.
Um, which helps as like you grow and your body expands, the tubing expands as well. Um,
Yeah.
so I think maybe that's, knock on wood again. That's why I haven't had as many issues.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hey, you were a trooper through all that though. I don't know if I
I,
could have gone through all of that.
it's been something.
Yeah, I
And it's
remember it.
like, it's made me terrified of UAV.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Uh, Spina Bifida clinic days are not fun because I'm like, hopefully I don't have to stay. Hopefully everything's good.
Yeah, that's as I've gotten older. The new doctors that I have now. When I was transitioning from children's to the new or to the UAB clinic, I was like, oh man, I've had these doctors as long as I can remember. From
Mm-hmm.
birth, and now I'm getting a whole new team of doctors. But I mean, Dr. Powell has been amazing. She's my main
Yeah.
doctor. Miss
Yeah.
Julie, she's been amazing.
I love her.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's
I
great.
if I have anything, any problems, I know I can always call her. Um, and all my other doctors have been great. Um,
She's
so,
actually the first person that I contact whenever I have a problem is
yeah,
Julie.
yep, yep. Any like if
um,
I need to get my medicines refilled, hey Miss Julie, I need
mm-hmm.
this filled out.
Yep.
She's right on the spot with it too.
Yep. See if we have any more comments. Terry Shaw.
That's my
So
mom.
proud of both of you. It is.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually getting a lot of text messages over here, trying to see if I was.
She said that she's so proud of both of us. Oh. Anyway, that was all my stuff.
All right. It's been
So
actually a
if you
lot of
don't have
fun.
anything else, yeah, I haven't gotten to talk to you in forever.
Yeah, no. Yep.
And
It's go ahead.
talking about stuff is kind of our thing. So
Yep. 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 I've just been working at work a lot. Like I said, on the weekends, that's mainly my work schedule. And then I work 2 days during the week. So but yeah, it's been a lot of fun these last
yeah,
just about 25 years now. They've been challenging, but they've been fun too.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess I will talk to you later.
All right. I appreciate it very much for having me on.
Thank you for letting me do this. Like spur of the moment, pretty much.
Yeah. That's all right.
Anyway, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.